She sat across from him with her shoulders pulled in tight, like she was trying to make herself invisible. Her voice shook as she whispered the question she had been holding inside. For years, do you think I still deserve happiness? After everything? The restaurant noise faded instantly. The single dad, sitting across from her, felt his heart stop for a moment. A blind date wasn't supposed to feel like this. It wasn't supposed to feel like someone's soul was asking to be seen again. But it did, and her question carried more weight than he ever expected. This wasn't just a date. This was the beginning of two broken lives meeting at the exact moment they needed kindness the most. Before we continue, if you enjoy emotional, inspiring stories that remind you of the goodness still left in the world, make sure to subscribe to your channel now. Hit the like button and drop a comment about a moment of kindness that touched your heart. Your support helps bring more stories like this to life. It all started on a cool autumn evening in a cozy little restaurant in Portland, Oregon. The leaves outside glowed a deep orange, and the air held that familiar bite that comes right before winter settles in. Daniel stood outside the restaurant, checking his watch, then wiping his palms on his jeans. He was a 39-year-old single dad who hadn't been on a date in almost 3 years. His sister had practically forced him into this blind date, promising him the woman was sweet, quiet, and just needed a chance. But Daniel wasn't sure he needed romance. He needed stability. He needed to be a good father to his 8-year-old daughter, Nora. Still, something inside him said, just try. So he did. When he stepped inside, soft jazz music floated through the room. Candles flickered on every table. And then he saw her. Maya. She was seated near the window, dressed simply, her hair falling softly down her back. Her hands were clasped together on her lap. She looked like someone trying not to take up too much space. But there was a quiet beauty in her sadness. When she looked up and saw him, she smiled nervously. Not a practiced smile. A real one, fragile but honest. Daniel walked over, introduced himself, and sat down. They started with small talk, how chilly the weather had gotten, how crowded the parking lot was, how blind dates always made people awkward. She laughed lightly at that, and it eased the tension for a moment, but Daniel sensed something deeper, something she was trying hard to keep hidden. The waitress brought water. Maya's hands trembled when she lifted the glass, and that was the first time he realized this woman wasn't nervous because of the date. She was nervous because she was carrying something heavy, something painful. Halfway through dinner, she cleared her throat, looked down at her hand, and said softly, "I hope it's okay if I tell you something personal." Daniel leaned in. Of course. She took a long breath, as if gathering courage piece by piece. "I haven't been on a date in over 2 years," she said. "Not since I finally left someone who made me believe I was worthless." Daniel sat still, listening without interrupting. She continued, "I was with someone who controlled everything I did. Someone who convinced me that no one else would ever want me, that my voice didn't matter, that I didn't deserve kindness or happiness." Her eyes shimmered with tears, but she lifted her chin bravely. "I left. I finally walked away, but the damage didn't stay behind. It came with me. It follows me everywhere. And sometimes I still wonder." Her voice cracked. Then she whispered the question that froze him completely. "Do you think I still deserve happiness?" Daniel swallowed hard. He hadn't expected such vulnerability. But he understood pain more than she knew. "Maya," he said gently, "you deserve happiness simply because you survived, because you kept going even when someone tried to break you." She blinked, surprised by his certainty. He continued, "You're not damaged goods. You're a human being who went through something terrible, and you're still here. That takes strength." A single tear slid down her cheek. She didn't wipe it away. For the first time that night, Daniel saw something shift inside her, like a door cracking open, letting the smallest bit of light back in. Wanting her to feel safe, Daniel shared his own truth. "I lost my wife 4 years ago," he said quietly. "A drunk driver hit her car on her way home from work. One moment, I had a partner. And the next, I was standing alone in a hospital hallway, wondering how I was supposed to raise a little girl by myself." Maya's lips parted in shock. "Daniel, I'm so sorry." He nodded. "There were nights I felt like I was failing Nora, like I wasn't enough, like I didn't deserve anything good, because she had already lost so much." She stared at him with new empathy. "But I learned something," he said softly. "Kindness isn't about being perfect. It's about being human. It's about giving yourself permission to heal, even when it feels impossible." She listened like his words were water in a desert she had been wandering for too long. When the food arrived, it sat untouched between them. Instead, they talked about their childhoods, about the people they lost, about trust, about fear, about learning to breathe again after life collapses. Daniel didn't flirt. He didn't try to impress her. He just offered kindness, real, gentle kindness, the kind that doesn't demand anything back. And Maya felt something she hadn't felt in years, safety. After dinner, they walked outside. The crisp night air wrapped around them, and the moon cast a soft glow on the sidewalk. "I don't know how to thank you," Maya said. "You didn't judge me. You didn't make me feel crazy or broken. You just listened." "That's what people should do," Daniel replied. She smiled softly. "I'm not used to kindness." "Then," he said, "let this be the start." Just then, his phone buzzed. It was Nora asking if Daddy was almost home. She couldn't sleep unless she knew he was safe. Maya laughed. "She sounds like a sweetheart." "She is," he said. "Maybe you could meet her someday, only if you're comfortable." Maya hesitated, then nodded. "I'd like that." A few days later, Maya stood on Daniel's porch holding a small bag. She had brought Nora a book with illustrations of brave little girls. When the door opened, Nora's eyes lit up instantly. "You're the lady Daddy told me about." Nora chirped. "The one who likes sunflowers?" Maya's jaw dropped. "He told you that?" Nora nodded proudly. "Daddy says sunflowers always turn toward the light. Is that why you like them?" Maya pressed a hand to her heart. She knelt down. "Yes," she whispered. "I think that's exactly why." Nora hugged her without thinking twice. Maya stiffened at first, unused to affection, then melted into the warmth. Daniel watched from the doorway, his heart full. It wasn't love at first sight. It wasn't magic or fireworks. It was something gentler, the beginning of healing. Over the next weeks, they spent evenings cooking together, watching movies, playing board games with Nora, and taking slow walks around the neighborhood. Maya laughed more. Daniel smiled more. Nora adored her instantly. But healing isn't easy. One night, Maya admitted, "Sometimes I worry I'm too broken, that I don't know how to be loved the right way." Daniel touched her hand gently. "No one knows the right way," he said. "We just show up, we choose kindness, and we try again tomorrow." She leaned her head on his shoulder. For the first time in a long time, she felt like home wasn't a place. It was a feeling she thought she had lost forever. Months later, they returned to the same restaurant where their story began. But this time, Maya didn't look scared. She didn't shrink into herself. She didn't question her worth. She walked in with confidence, with light in her eyes, with hope in her chest. When they sat down, Daniel reached for her hand. "You've changed," he said softly. "I'm healing," she corrected gently, "because someone believed I deserved happiness before I believed it myself." He smiled. "You always deserved it." Outside, life moved quickly, cars rushing by, people hurrying home, the world spinning as it always does. But inside that restaurant, kindness had done something powerful. It had rebuilt a heart. It had given someone a second chance. It had turned a blind date into a story of courage, compassion, and healing. And if this story proves anything, it's this: kindness is never wasted. Kindness can reach places nothing else can. And sometimes, kindness is the first step toward happiness. So be gentle with others. Be patient. Be kind, because you never know who's sitting in front of you whispering silently, "Do I still deserve happiness?" And your kindness may be the moment that finally lets them answer, yes.